I think for some of you it's already been quite a long day and inductions can be a little bit boring. We have a lot of information to give, so you're really listening mode all the time. Apologies for that, but some of it is important. Some of it will come in here and fly out the other side. But there's been lots of places at the time that you can catch up with people to ask if you get stuck. So, hello, welcome to the University of London. Welcome to London, those of you who have come to something of international status. And welcome to the School of Advanced Study. My name is Elaine and I'm Director of Operations for the school. So it's my job to make sure that everybody has everything they need to do their jobs and that your experience here is as good as it can be. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the school, and this is the stuff that might go in one ear and fly out of the other, but also a little bit about your time here, what's important whilst you're here for you to concentrate on, and a little bit about the strengths of the school, because some of you probably won't have heard of the School of Advanced Study, but it's comprised of all of these research institutes, and they all have a national and international reputation, so you will be attached to a programme in one of these institutes. If you're not, you're in the wrong place. So if you don't recognise an institute up there, then I would say I'll be a bit worried. So, Institute of Advanced Legal Studies, Classical Studies, Commonwealth, English Studies, Historical Research, Language, Cultures and Societies, Philosophy, the Warburg Institute, and two of our Centres of Excellence, Digital Humanities and the Refugee Law Initiative. And they come under the umbrella of the School of Advanced Study. Now, the school's got a unique remit nationally. It is the only institution in this country which is funded to promote and facilitate research in the humanities. And you will hear a lot about the humanities, gets a real bashing out in the atmosphere, and we are very strong advocates for the value of humanities. So you'll hear a lot about that whilst you're in the school. We only take a small number of students. We're incredibly picky. So well done for being here and getting here. You won't see thousands of students in the School of Advanced Study because we don't do that. So we're very selective. We've got 5 master's programs running and we supervise about 130 doctoral students, that's those on research degrees. We only register about 100 new students a year, and that's most of you guys. We do have some distance learning programs, and these are the students that are studying remotely. We've got quite a large number of students around the world studying, doing our human rights masters and our refugee law program. And we also do a PhD by distance learning, so you won't necessarily see those students, but they're there and supporting them. All the staff in the school are engaged actively in their own research. And what is unique about the school is that research informs their teaching. And that's quite special. It means that they're on top of the latest initiatives in their field. We have 4 institute libraries. There's one in Advanced Legal Studies, there's one at the Warburg, there's one in Classical Studies, and there's one in Historical Research. And as students of the school, you can move among those libraries as you like. You can join them and use the resources there. We're also in Senate House. And the great big tower that you see when you enter is, of course, the Senate House Library, a fantastic library. We're going to hear from colleagues from Senate House Library to talk about that. I think between the 4 SAS libraries and the Senate House Library, we've got almost 3 million resources for you at your disposal. So good luck getting through all of those, but there's a hell of a lot there. Okay, the other thing I want to say is some of the institutes, the larger ones, are in separate buildings. They're not in Senate House. So the Warburg and Advanced Legal Studies in particular are around the squares here. That doesn't stop you from going there. So go and visit, use the libraries, and see and go to their events. Everybody has a lot of events here. So your multidisciplinary students, go and see what other people are doing. The IHR is just across the cloisters in the building opposite, so they're very close as well. But the rest of the institutes are quite small and specialist, and they're located mainly on the 2nd and 3rd floors of Senate House. That's the building we're currently in. So why did you choose the school? You probably didn't know some of this. But we have one of the largest humanities seminar programs outside of the University of Oxford. About 100 different seminar series on every topic you can think of to do with humanities. That's a massive resource. You can go to any of them as visitors. You can go and give a paper if you so disposed. You can do whatever you like, but they're there for you. We hold about 2,000 events a year for the national humanities audience, but also for you. So have a look round, go to events, turn up at workshops, conferences. As I say, we serve the national humanities community, and that is there at your disposal as well. We welcome into the school about 90 international academic fellows from around the world. And this is sometimes an opportunity to hear somebody that you wouldn't normally come into contact with. So look out for those events. We are also required by Research England to put on and host for the humanities community a massive training programme, generic research skills and specialist skills that are operated by the Institute and by the centre of the school. So we would expect you to do some training whilst you're here, particularly if you're a research student, there are some research skills that you need to upskill in. Look out for those as well. We've got dedicated career support, and you'll hear about that this afternoon. That's not for everybody here, and that's absolutely fine. If you are on the lookout for a job, or you want to change jobs, or you want some part-time work to supplement your finances, they can help with all of that. They also do practice interviews and help you with your CV. And generally in the school, because it's quite small, and you integrate very well with the academic staff and the professional services staff, you become engaged and interested, and we know you all. You're not just a number. So that makes for a really nice community. So, down to the basics. You will have met the registry staff this morning, and they're all far away, so I can't introduce them. But the registry, which is where you go to register and pick up various bits and pieces, and I'll come on to that in a minute, is on the second floor of Stewart House. That's the building on the corner of Russell Square, and they're on the second floor there. The head of registry services is Calinda Hughes. Calinda, do you want to stand? She's right at the back, which is brilliant. She's waving, there we are. Supported by Kate Kovlos, who's admissions. Hi Kate, Kate's waving. Shanika Petra-Belmar, who's a talk program student coordinator. Hi. Daniel Passes is a talk student coordinator. Hi Daniel. And we've got a vacancy, so hopefully that will be filled soon or shortly. Is that right, Calinda? Yeah, we'll have another staff then. Great. When you pay your fees, that's to a different department in the university. Of course it is. They're in the University Central Finance Department, and I do know that some of you have had some problems with your fees, for which I apologise, although it's not SAS's fault. I apologise if you're struggling to do that. We will help you all we can. But that department is situated in Central Finance. They are not on the second floor with the registry. We also have a doctoral centre, and the doctoral centre in particular looks after research students, those of you embarking on a PhD. Once you're registered, responsibility for that student journey, which can be a long one, falls to the doctoral centre. So they will monitor that you're making the right progress at the right time. They'll give you advice and guidance. They also curate some of the research training that we do. So the doctoral centre is located on the second floor. You're going to forget all this when it's done, doesn't it? On the second floor of Senate House. Okay. It's really important that you keep in touch with us. And you do that using your email account, which you should all have received, I hope. Whatever your name is, at postgrad.sas.uk. We will also communicate with you via that email. Now you can divert other emails to it, but please don't ignore the postgrad one. It's really important. If we've got, critical messages to get to you, we'll do it that way. But we'll also send you information on training and conferences and other notices. Can you make sure that we've got your personal contacts up to date? We do have a right to contact parents or partners or another person in certain circumstances. We don't do it ordinarily, but if you are critically ill or something happens here and we need to get hold of them, we have the right to do that. So I'm just warning you, it's important that we have that contact. Registry has a generic mailbox, and you can see what it is there. Taught degrees at SAS and research degrees at SAS. That's the one for those of you who want research degrees. And you've got handbooks with loads of information, so don't expect you to read it all through right now, but there's lots of useful stuff in there. Keep it by, just in case you need to consult on anything. Things that you must tell us there: change of address, if you're going to be absent or you leave the country, particularly, I'm afraid, if you're an international student, we have to know if you're going to leave the country. That's not our ruling, that comes with the visa stuff. If you need some time off, or you need extra time for an assignment, if you've got personal, financial, health or accessibility issues, we can help you. Don't suffer in silence with any of that. And as I say, changes in your personal contacts. Registry are also helpful in terms of getting sort of certification and copies of things, council tax certificates, if you lose your ID card, student travel card forms, handbooks. A lot of this is online, so we've also got the forms for withdrawal, interruption, absence, change of mode, etc. We also run a hardship fund, and I wouldn't expect you to be in hardship right now, given that you've just started, but we do, or I hope not. But if you are, there is a student hardship fund. You can apply. You have to make a case, and you have to prove to us that you are in financial hardship. And we will process that very quickly. We get payments out to people very quickly. So if you're stuck, there's a link to it online. It's also in the handbooks. Do come and talk to us, okay? And that also goes with if you're struggling to pay any instalments on your fees. Know how hard it is at the moment. We also have a wellbeing and disability support services, and the registry will refer you to those services if you have a chat with them. You can also go directly. All of that is totally confidential, and you'll hear from the people that run those services this afternoon. So this is a bit boring, even more boring. Student engagement. We have to tell you that there are implications for you not turning up when you're supposed to. I'm sorry, it's miserable. But there's different standards of engagement depending on whether you're a taught student or whether you're a research student. So we count the number of missed contacts. So when you get to 10, there's a big red flag and lots of things happen. So the taught students, a contact is attendance at a lecture, a tutorial, a workshop or a seminar within a calendar week. So if you miss something, that's one. We don't worry about 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, but we start to worry when we haven't seen you for a month, okay? It might be that you've missed an online appointment, or you haven't been there for a test or an exam or an assessment or a research training session. Anyway, you can read it for yourself, you can see that. For research students who are not in contact quite so often, it's a different journey. But you are required to have regular supervisory meetings. So if you miss a research training session or an appointment with an advisor or with your academic staff supervisor, that counts as a missed contact. What also counts are missed points of submission of work. So if you miss handing in an essay and you don't tell us, you just don't send it in, that's also a bit of an issue for us. Okay, you can, but when you're going to be absent for more than 7 days, you must complete a form. It's absolutely fine, but you must tell us. Don't just go off. I'll refer you, I think, rather than go through this word by word, to the engagement policy in your handbooks. It's really important just to keep on top of that. But just let us know. If you're poorly, just let us know. If you're feeling that you don't want to come in and there's a good reason for that, just let us know, that's fine. What we worry about is when we don't hear from you at all. Here's the thing about emergency contacts. I won't go through it, but it outlines those situations in which we will make contact with your personal contact. And that's emergency admission to hospital, if you're in a life-threatening condition, if we think you're suffering from physical or mental illness, if we think we can't keep you safe, if we think you're missing, okay? Right, I've gone through this already, but SAS services, careers, research training, student wellbeing, accommodation if you need it. We do have halls of residence. Academic writing support and GP services are all available. Okay, student voices. It's because we're quite small, mostly when there's a matter of concern or an anxiety, you will be able to come and talk to us. Each of the programmes runs a student liaison committee, so you can take things there, they're run termly, you can take things there and generally things will get sorted. I convene the student reps committee at school level, so all the representatives who have been elected from their courses come together, also termly, and we talk through some policies, we might talk through the HE landscape, we might talk through the results of the student surveys. We do all sorts of things there, but we also pick up those matters that you haven't been able to deal with in your institutes at programme level. So if you want to be a student rep, it's really nice, it's a really nice thing to do. It's great for your CV, those of you that are still potentially looking for work. It's a great thing to do. Just the elections will be held pretty much starting either next week or the week after within your institute. So if you want to be a rep, put your hands up, go along, represent the student body, and it'd be great to see you at the Student Reps Committee, but it's very important in the school to us. We are very responsive to student feedback. Right, okay. Now, we don't have a student union here, but we have an association called SAS Society, and it's open for all students in SAS. We give it a small amount of funding for social events. Sometimes we have quizzes, sometimes we go on outings. It's great fun. It has not been active this last year because it's really dependent on students to lead it. And we struggled last year to get people to take part. If you'd like to do that, it has its own common room, we've got a bit of funding, but it does take some effort to corral the students in SAS. And part of the problem is that you're dispersed into your institutes. But I would really love it if 2 or 3 of you wanted to take this forward, and it might even be a bigger group than that, it doesn't matter. Take forward SAS Society. There's a lot of, it does a lot of great work, and during COVID it was a real lifeline to students in terms of bringing people together socially. Okay, so how are we going to do this? Maybe if you're interested, you could drop me a line. It might be that a group of you are interested, but I would love you to resurrect the common room. I'd love to give you some money to do stuff, and you might still have some ideas about outings and social gatherings. But as I say, at the moment it's fairly latent. Yeah, don't let it die, you see, emotional attachment. Right. Now, this is where we want you to get to, and some of you who are on master's programs and you're only here a year, that will come much quicker than those of you who are here on a research degree or are studying with us part-time. But the school has a very, very high success rate. We graduate about 98% of our students. Nobody fails with us, okay? The 2% of those that dropped out. So if you get stuck, if you need help, shout. The academic staff are very attuned to the students. They really care, and that's what makes a difference at the school. I think I'm going to finish by, on behalf of the faculty, the Dean, who we're going to meet later on, the Vice-Chancellor and the academic staff, and all my professional services colleagues, welcome to the school and to the University of London. And it's really nice to see you all.